Hi, I'm Tricia at Club Scrap and welcome to class. This is the Inspired Card Kit Workshop. We are about to make a dozen cards together. So we'll start out by first sorting the paper, then trimming all of it, everything required for all 12 cards. That's the efficient part of this class. Then we'll score everything, and then finally we'll make a sample of each of the 3 card styles we'll create. The rest you can fly solo, you'll be just fine. If you're newer to this process and you feel like everything's moving a little too quickly for you, just remember that you can adjust your playback speed on your YouTube channel. Find the little button that looks like a gear, click on that, choose playback speed, and then switch things to 0.75. That will really dramatically slow me down. And that way all those numbers will come through a little bit more slowly so that you can get the hang of this. But I promise, with some practice, once you get the hang of it, oh, we're gonna have so much fun creating cards together that are not only beautiful, but make great use of your time and materials. Well, let's get started. I've got my instructions printed out here. They're ready to go. You do not need to print your instructions if you have like a tablet or something you can use to follow along. And I have my accordion pocket file to help us stay organized. We'll be utilizing the pockets labeled A, B, C, and D. Now, if you don't have this, it's okay. Just maybe grab some Post-it notes or some little scrap paper and make piles A, B, C, and D that you can file onto so that we can stay organized. Imagine doing all this trimming and having all these pieces of paper in one big messy pile. Good luck making sense of that. So I'm just gonna place this under my trimmer base so that it stays vertical. And then that's how we'll be doing our filing. Next, I'll set aside all my envelopes and the other little embellishments that came in the kit. Make sure you keep good track of those. They're tiny and I don't want anything getting lost. And let's just take the paper that came in the box and sort it by the order we'll be using it. So I will find first one sheet of the teal. That's that deep, 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 dark bluish green color. And this is probably my favorite color of any color being manufactured in the world today. All right, then we'll go to the medium green. This paper has a texture on it. And just because we're gonna flip everything over later, I'm gonna put this texture side down, then a sheet of the dark green, and finally the aqua, which is that the brightest color in the set. Repeat all of that. So we'll go teal again, then medium green texture side down, the dark green, and the aqua. You should also find 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 white. Those are going to just become card bases for us. Next up, 2 sheets of the printed paper. It's a text weight. And then there's going to be a piece of gold foil. It's very delicate. If it gets wrinkled or marred during this process, don't worry about it. It's still going to look great. And then find the Cutapart that has this brighter aqua area that says happy, happy, and you are amazing. Put that face down. And then finally, the last sheet in your stack of Cutaparts. Flip everything back over to the dark teal here. And I'm going to turn to page 1 in the instructions. There's always a arrow on the diagram in the instructions if the grain direction of the paper matters before we start trimming. And grain direction simply means that it's going to be easier to fold the paper in one direction than the other, and this is going to grow up to become a card. So to find our grain direction, I will hold that paper by the center of one side and just give it a little wiggle and see if the paper feels like it wants to dip in that direction or if it doesn't. And then compare to the neighboring edge. This is very stiff and unforgiving. This is really floppy. So when you place this in the trimmer, the direction of the dip should match the direction of the arrow in the instructions, which is right here. It's pointing up and down. So that's the way I want this to go into the trimmer. So plop it in like that. And I'm also gonna add the medium green sheet as well. So double checking the grain direction. It flaps easier from top to bottom. And we're gonna trim 2 sheets at the same time because the cutting formula is the same. Now, if you have a trimmer that's not like this guillotine style here at home that can't cut through 2 sheets of 80-pound coverweight paper, you'll have to go back and just repeat the process as many times as needed. We're trimming a total of 4 sheets the exact same way. And that's part of the secret of my efficient system here of card making. So stack the papers neatly together, and we're gonna cut at a really big number, 11 3/4. So make sure you're looking at the inches here. Go left from the 11, 1, 2, 3 columns. Make sure your paper is level up here at the top for every cut you make. Push on that clear bar really firmly and give that baby a slice. All right, now let's slide this paper down to 7 inches. Nice whole number there for you. And stabilize once again and slice. And then rotate this paper so it's horizontal and trim at 10. Now these two larger pieces are going to become cards, and I need to score them a little later. So I'm going to set them aside in a pile out of my way. And then you've got two strips that fell. Those will go in pocket C, as in Charlie. Now this next larger piece here, let's trim at 10 1/4 and 6 3/4. This large panel, pocket C, Charlie, and then the remaining two panels, pocket A, Alpha, and then believe it or not, we'll find a home for the strip in pocket C as well. That wasn't so bad. Let's repeat. So finding the grain direction for the dark green, and then the grain direction on the aqua. This is a really thick piece of paper. I think it's like 110-pound cover weight, actually. Both go in together, and we'll repeat. So 11 3/4, stabilize firmly, and 7. If you're having trouble with the trimmer, try standing up when you trim if you're able. That was 7. Then rotate and cut at 10 to get a 7 by 10. Here are another pair of card bases, and the two pieces that fell go in pocket C, Charlie. And then the remaining larger strip here will cut at 10 1/4, 6 3/4, and the larger panel, pocket C. The smaller two panels, pocket A, Alpha, and then these long strips, C, Charlie. Okay, moving on to the next formula. Now this time we are going to be placing the paper into the trimmer so it dips easily from the left to the right. And again, that corresponds with the arrow on step 2 of the instructions going left and right. I'll grab the teal and then the medium green, flopping, bending easily this way, not this way, but this way. We'll cut at 7 3/4. All right, 7 3/4. Now rotate and cut at 9 and 4 1/2. These 4 pieces, the one in the base and the 2 that just fell, those are going to need to be scored for a card base. So set them aside. Grab the other narrow piece that fell and trim at 4 1/4. Pocket B for the piece that was in your trimmer, and then pocket C, Charlie, for the piece that fell. Now grab this final strip. We'll trim at 11 1/2, 5 1/4. Do this little trick with me. Rotate the 5 1/4 and trim at 4. This panel, pocket A, Alpha. I regret to inform you that we have some little scraps, both the 1/4-inch pieces and the 1/2-inch pieces. We'll get rid of those. And then the final larger panel here, pocket C again, Charlie. We get to do all that one more time. So let's make sure that the green dips from left to right. And then the aqua, left to right. Trim at 7 3/4. Rotate and trim at 9. Again, stabilizing is so important when you're working with these heavier papers 2 at a time. And then move down to 4 1/2. Gather the 4 pieces that are the same, set aside to be scored. The remaining little piece, trim at 4 1/4. The piece in your trimmer, pocket B, Bravo. The piece that fell, C, Charlie, and then pick up the last strip, cut at 11 1/2. 11 1/2. Slide down to 5 1/4. And then rotate so it's vertical and cut at 4. The panel from the trimmer base, pocket A. The other larger panel, C, Charlie, and then you've got a series of 4 little scraps. Just for the moment, I'm going to grab my score pal because I'm going to bring this 8.5 by 11 white paper into the base of my score pal and score it vertically. So it's in there like portrait style, and score it 4 1/4. Grab the other one, grab it, score it 4 1/4 again, and set aside the score pal. Now take both of the 8.5 by 11s that are scored, place them in the trimmer horizontally, and trim at 5 1/2. You just made 4 card bases. You only scored twice, and you got 4 cards. You trimmed once. You scored twice. You get 4 cards. Use that little time-saving trick in the future when you're making a large batch of cards. Comes in super handy. We're moving on already to page 2. We'll take our print and grab that score pal one more time. I'm going to place one of these prints into the score pal with the wrong side facing up. And let's score at 1 1/2. And be sure to be gentle with your scoring tool so that you don't break through this text weight paper. It's a completely different experience scoring text weight paper versus cover weight. So again, that was at 1 1/2, then 4 1/2, 7 1/2, and 10 1/2. Lots of halvesies. Okay, now take the entire piece of paper and rotate it 1 turn, counter or clockwise, whatever. So now the original score lines are horizontal, and we'll score at those same numbers: 1 1/2, 4 1/2, 7 1/2, and 10 1/2. Okay, get rid of the score pal. Okay, so now we have our scored paper, and let's place it into the trimmer any old way and cut it at 6. Rotate and trim at 6. And that gives you 2 6 by 6s. You can put them in pocket A, and we'll do the same for the other piece. Cut at 6. And now you've got 2 more pieces for pocket A. Take the remaining print and cut at 9 3/4. Also, notice that I didn't mention the grain direction. It's because we're not going to be folding this piece of paper. So once again, that was 9 3/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4, 3 3/4. Now the piece in your trimmer base plus the one that fell, they're the same. Stack them neatly together and cut at 10 and 5. With the 4 panels that we have here, they should be all the same for pocket B, bravo, and there are 2 little scraps left over. You can set those aside and grab the remaining 2 strips that fell from the end. They should be the same, and you can trim these together at 6 inches. And all 4 of these pieces go in pocket C, Charlie. Here we are at the, this was the goodie item, the gold foil. And we'll cut this one at 11 3/4. It's not quite 12 by 12, so it's just going to be a shaving. Okay, then slide it to 8 and 4. Then take the piece in your trimmer base and the one that fell, and then we'll stack them and trim horizontally now with this piece at 10 1/2 and 5 1/4. All 4 of these gold pieces go in pocket B, bravo. And there were some scraps that were created that fell. Now I have 1 more strip here. I'll trim this one at 10, 7 1/2, 5, and 2 1/2. We've got 4 pieces that are the same for pocket B, bravo. And then once again, a little scrap plus that little shaving from the edge that you can just get rid of. Here we are at the Cutaparts. We do need to remove the outer perimeter of paper here so we can have the registration be perfect on these cuts. So for the first cut, I'm going to just cut shy of that mark on the guideline, since the trimmer is just a little too small to see the edge of the silver blade. And remember, it's the silver edge, not the black edge that we're looking at. Rotate the paper one turn, and then now you should be able to see the edge of the blade and how it aligns with the mark on the corner. Rotate and remove the next mark, and then just pause me until you've gone all the way around your paper and eliminated that excess paper. So remember the first cut, I cut shy of the mark. Now when I trim here at 12 inches, I'm going to get a little scrap, really thin piece, and you can get rid of those tiny little pieces. And then when we start trimming this, make sure the word pull is on the right. We'll trim at 11, 10, 6 3/4. Now this next cut is designed to just remove this white strip. Okay, so we're going to cut at 6 1/2. And that's actually a scrap. It's by design. And then 3 1/4. You can stack the two pieces you just created. They should look the same. Stack them and cut at 9 1/4. We're going to create another scrap, which allows the bleed, as we call it in the printing industry. Cut at 9 and then 4 1/2. So you made these 4 panels. They all look the same, pocket A. And then this is the scrap that occurred. I just didn't want you to have to cut precisely on the edge of a color to a plane. So now this is the color bleeds off the edge of that panel, which is what I was after. Then you have 2 more pieces here for pocket A. Pick up the next strip. We're going to do nice easy cuts here at 9, 6, and 3. So 9, 6, and 3. It's the perfect way to subdivide a 12-inch strip into 4 pieces of equal size. All of these go in pocket C, Charlie. And then you have the pieces that say pull. Let's do these one at a time since they're so narrow. We'll go 10 1/4, 8 1/2, 4 1/4. The 2 pull pieces, pocket B, bravo, and the 2 little, they were scrappies, but they can go in C. Now I want to give you a tip here. Since this piece is so narrow, what you can do is bring it down. There's another row of numbers just, with the inch markings, and there's a line underneath the inch, so that if you line it up on that line at 10 1/4, you can see a little bit better. Then 8 1/2. Just make sure the piece is level so your cut is straight. And then 4 1/4 is your last cut. And these 2 pieces, pocket B, bravo, and then the 2 tinier bonus scraps, C, Charlie. This again is the scrap that took us from the white area to the bleed area. Get rid of that. And we have one last sheet of cut apart here. I'm going to go ahead and lob off most of that edge. Then rotate so I can see my blade better at top and bottom and line it up. And you'll notice even sometimes you have to tilt the paper a little bit to make sure you're lined up with those squares. And once you've made the cut, the paper will be level. I'm gonna do one more cut at 12 inches here on this edge. Okay, get rid of those little scrappies. And we want to orient the paper so that's my wish for you is in the upper right corner. We'll trim at 9. Five 3/4 and 3 1/2. Rotate, and then best day ever should be on your left. We'll start at 9, 6 3/4, 4 1/2, 2 1/4. There are 4 pieces here that are the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're narrower. Those go in B, Bravo, and then this last one goes in A, Alpha. Same cuts here. So it's your day to celebrate. That'll be on your right. Trim at 9, 6 3/4, 4 1/2, and 2 1/4. 4 pieces that are the same plus this little guy. They all go, that entire strip, pocket A, Alpha. Here you have some little peacock print on the right. We'll cut at 11, 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. You've got all 4 of these pieces going into pocket C, Charlie, and the little guy that fell is just a scrap. I didn't use it. You can certainly, if you want, find a home for it. And finally, we have another easy cut here on all those numbers divisible by 3. So we go at 9, 6, and 3. Gather all these up. They go in pocket B, Bravo. I'm going to support my accordion pocket file before I remove the trimmer, and then from now on lay it on its back. I'm going to swap this up for my score pal for the 3rd time. I do like my score pal, and I tend to score with my metal tip stylus. I do carry these for now, so if you need something like this to ensure that you have nice score lines, pick that up by all means. Now, the top of the pile that I'd set aside of things to be scored, I found this aqua colored paper. If I place it horizontally into my score pal, it measures 4 1/2 by 7 3/4. So it's in horizontally. I need to score this at 5 3/4. So 5 3/4. Now this is a heavier weight paper, so make sure you press firmly enough to get a nice score line. Then take the paper and bring the bottom edge up to the top. So you're flipping it, not rotating it, just flipping. And then score at 6 1/2. Again, firmly. I'll bring in the green, and we're going to repeat these numbers over and over and over again. 5 3/4, flip, 6 1/2. Bring in the other aqua. 5 3/4, flip, 6 1/2. Next, I got dark green again. 5 3/4, flip bottom to top, 6 1/2. Only 4 more times. Here we have our green, texture side up, 5 3/4, flip, 6 1/2. We have our dark teal, 5 3/4, flip, 6 1/2. We have our green texture side up, 5 3/4, flip, 6 1/2. And finally, our dark teal here, 5 3/4 and 6 1/2. All the paper just feels so different. Different weights, different colors. It scores differently. All of this, pocket B. Then we have these gigantic pieces. We're going to score at horizontally, so it just should read 10 over here. We'll score at 5. And once again, making sure that your score lines are nice and firm so that you can find them. Scoring at 5 with the plain or the textured side facing up. And then our last sheet at 5, textured side up. And we've already done the scoring for card set A. So this goes in pocket C, Charlie. Let's put our score pal away. We'll empty pocket A at this point. And there's a lot of stuff in there. What I typically do is just take a moment to organize. So just as if I was playing cards with someone and I wanted to arrange the cards all in one direction, facing one direction, it's kind of the same concept. And we've got our panels, we've got strips, we have sentiments. And if you have them organized, it's just a little easier to find things. And we've got these scored pieces. We're gonna have a lot of fun with those, and our card bases. Let's take those white card bases and just create 4 different piles. And then each card is going to get one of these prepared prints. Then I've got a series of plain panels, and there's no wrong answer to this. What I'm doing here when I give you which color to distribute, I'm just repeating what was in the instructions so that there's no confusion, but you can do whatever you want when you're distributing these colors. I'll start out with the dark green here of the largest size, then the aqua, then the teal, and finally the light green or the medium green. Then we'll nest a contrasting color. So I'll add a medium green to this, dark green here, aqua here, and teal here. Next, each one gets one of these sentiments. I'll do happy, happy on the top row and you're amazing on the second row. Then for the top two, we'll go joy, 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 joy. And then on the bottom two, remember that, remember that. For the inside, with every birthday, a new chapter unfolds, and then it's your time to celebrate. So we have one more sentimental, one more joyful, and then on the bottom, may you be proud of the work you do for both cards. Lastly, we'll distribute the missing color, and this will be for just a little decorative strip for the inside of the card. So teal here, what's missing from this? Medium green, dark green is missing, and aqua is missing. And we're going to just make one of these cards together. And I see right away that the large 6x6 piece is way too big to put into the envelope. Maybe I'll just do it like this. So I took the fourth card and placed all the contents into the smallest envelope in your envelope set that you've been given in your kit. So we'll take all of this stuff and I'm just going to allow that to hang out. You can fold the card base if you want. Today I'm not going to do that. We have lots to do together. So, and then we'll just take this and slide it in there so you can find it later. And remember, all four of the cards are assembled the exact same way. So I don't want you to be worried about us not making all 12 cards together. We're just going to do a sample of each that you just copy and follow along with. It won't take you long once you sort of master the process. We can begin. I have my bone folder handy, and if you want to upgrade your bone folder, I really do like this one. And I'm going to grab this and my card base. Now I'm going to look for the bump of the score line. I can feel it. It's raised here. It's indented here. And make sure when I fold that the bump of that score line goes on the inside of the fold, not on the outside. Common mistake. And even at this point, if you're in the mood, we can go ahead and add our largest dark green panel to the folded card base. Sometimes I write the instructions, but I don't always build the cards in the way I wrote the step-by-step instructions. And I'm going to eyeball this, but you know, normally I'd use a grid ruler to make sure I stay nice and level. And then I'll add the happy, happy. Lovely. Okay, so this is the fun thing, the pinwheel, and it's very easy to do, so just follow along with me. We do have score lines here. I think so I can see easier, I'm going to fold on all of them. So in one direction, you'll be folding with the grain, and in the other, you'll be folding against the grain, and you'll really be able to feel the difference. So now I have my fold lines. It's much easier to see. I'm going to come in with my scissors and remove all four outside corners and the score line itself. So I'm just cutting right next to the score line, but as straight of a line as possible. And scissors should be fine for this job. No need to get out your cutting mat and craft knife or anything unless you really, really want to. Sometimes I like to use a scissors with long blades for cuts like this, so I can just go shh. And this requires two pinches of the blades. If that made sense. I'm going to get rid of that score line. It's very subtle. Okay. Get rid of those little squares if you want. So now I'm going to work on this plain side up, and I'm going to take one of these corners, and I'll just always work with the upper right corner. Just imagine it that way, or be consistent. Pick one, and that's the corner you're always going to be folding. And I'm just going to fold it over till the edge of this corner meets the score line that we made. If you want, you can burnish. Then just rotate again and fold over this corner. So it goes to the score line, if you can see it. And just rotate again. Same upper right corner. I think it works best if you rotate the paper so you just always have the same orientation. And one more time, fold down the corner. Now, if you want, you can come in with a little dab of bookbinding glue on the corners. I just filled this, so it's pretty aggressive today. And stick those flaps down. It'll keep it flat. So if you want to have a pinwheel that sort of pops up, you can omit the step of gluing down the triangle, okay? Now when I flip this back over, I'm gonna take the Joy and add it to the middle of this print. Joy. In your stash of embellishments, you're gonna find this super sweet, really tiny little feather charm, and I'm going to just add a little dab of bookbinding glue and add this, I don't know, I'm gonna put this one here. It's such a flat, gorgeous jewelry grade charm. It would make a beautiful pair of earrings too, I might add. But I think it's really lovely on the inside of this card. Now, remember how you fold a box top when you don't have any packing tape? You take the flap, and then the fourth flap tucks under the first one. That's the same concept here. So flap, 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 tuck. This tucks under the first one. You can burnish if you want. Remember that charm is still drying. I added mine, of course, last, but sometimes I need to know the order of something. Now remember, this is the top, so when I flip it over, I'll add my adhesive. If you need to open it up and check to make sure that you add the sentiment right side up, and I've got the space all planned out for you beautifully to add that to the front of the card. Then when you open it, grab your corner rounder punch and round some corners there. That's up to you. I think that always adds a little something. If you want, you can just add it flush to the top or center it however you want. It's your card, right? And then we'll add our beautiful sentiment here. Now, in many past kits, we did include Dazzle jewel stickers, and you always have like thousands of them, it seems like. So these were leftovers from past kits, and if you take like a little craft knife tip and you can add the jewel dazzles to some of the little round circles on the artwork, it's so cool. These Art Nouveau frames were really fun, a neat addition to the collection, and you can enhance them with really anything from your stash. But if you have something like this, it works great. Maybe glitter glue, dust that off and give that a try too, but just make sure you allow drying time. And then all of the remaining cards come together the same exact way. So this is the one we made together. I got my sample opened here. Just tuck that baby right in there. See? And then you've got two Happy Happies. Then you have You Are Amazing with, when you open this one up, it's Remember That. Remember That with a little charm. And then you've got your paper inside. I just centered this piece. That looks really sweet as well. So if you don't have the corner punch, no big deal. But this is a really fun little card set. The most important tip really is to have the paper facing the right direction when you're working. I made a couple of mistakes, so I think I've got it all figured out for you, obviously. So now it should be smooth sailing if you just follow along. We're ready for card set B. If you want, you can pause me and finish these sets while it's still fresh in your mind, or come back and revisit it later with the help of your instructions. I'm going to empty everything from the B pocket, and this is our pop-up card. So we've got a lot of kinetic action going on, but again, I want to reassure you that I've got this stuffed up where it's pretty easy and clear for you to assemble. So I think a little organization is in order. I've got my printed panels, my gold panels, some colored panels, my scored card bases, and my sentiments. Let's take our card bases here, and I will compare in my instructions so I get that color distribution correct. Our first will be the two medium green card bases that are scored, and then we'll switch to the dark green for the next one. So you're going to find two pieces of each of these colors. Then the teal and aqua. On top of each one, find the larger gold panels and distribute one to each. Then the smaller printed panels, one to each. Next up, we have these colored panels. So find the missing color game here. We're going to go dark green, teal, aqua, and medium green. Next up, lots of nesting. more gold. Oh, that just really kicks it up a notch, doesn't it? Each one will receive the piece that says pull. And then our sentiments will be for the outside, best day ever, 2 of those. And then you probably get lots of cards on your birthday, but what about after? Who's thinking of you then? Of course, the inside would be, I am, that's who, me, for those bottom 2 cards. And then that's my wish for you, best day ever. And that could be for a wedding, could be for a graduation, really anything. And I'm taking the medium-sized envelopes. Let's just dump the 4th pile here. And I do that in this order so that they're stacked up and reflect the order that the cards are shown in the instructions. So we've got all of that going in here. So this is card 1. If you look at the instructions, card 1. This is 2. Then we have 3. And then we have 4. So I'm just really trying to help you stay organized. I'll set these aside and let's put this one together. First, we're going to take that card base and study the score lines, and the score lines lead the way. So here we have a bump. I will fold inward on that to bury the bump of the score line. I have another bump on this side, so I'm going to fold in that direction. And that gives me like a little gusset, I would call that, or like a small accordion pleat. And we can repeat that for the other one. So maybe I'll take the inner bump first and then fold back on the other bump. And if I have these with the print side facing up, I've got 2 exactly the same, right? I'm going to take one of these pieces and flip it over. So now the smooth side is facing up and the gusset is on my right. And now I have this square piece that says, that's my wish for you. Grab a little ruler. Do you see that in the lower right corner, there's this angle? I'm just going to place the ruler along that angle and just crease on it to make a little triangle shape. And then I'm just going to pinch it so it's nice and firmly there. Okay. Next, I'm going to rotate this so it's sitting like this, where the bottom edge of my sentiment is lined up with the valley fold of the pleat. And I don't want to go any lower than a 1/4 inch max, maybe even just a hair less. Okay, so that's my wish for you reads sideways, and my triangle is in the upper right corner. Grab your bookbinding glue. It's the best glue for this. Otherwise, you just need a really strong glue. And I'm going to add it to the triangle shape only. Then fold that tab closed on top of the glued area. Now, to prepare for the next step while this dries, we're going to make a sandwich, all right? So this next piece, I want the gusset on the left. The texture side is facing up, and I have this edge right here that doesn't have a fold on it. That's going to end up sitting right on top of this pleat on the right side. So like this. It's a reflection, right? So now I have a gusset here on the right, and I'll have one on the left. So to start that process, I'm going to just attach I'm just going to add some bookbinding glue. Now, why wouldn't I use my glue gun for this? Well, one reason is that the wet glue allows me to make little adjustments to the placement. So if I place this on top and I want to slide things around until it's nice and level, I can do that. Oh, it just moved. Now, if I'd had my ATG gun glue, that's a one and done kind of a situation. And if I would have misaligned it, there's not a whole lot I can do. But the liquid glue allows it until it's dry. And then once it's dry, there's no moving anywhere. Flip this over and it can open up to reveal like the back of your sentiment and this flap here. So I'll add bookbinding glue to this flap. And now I can put this away. I always like to put the cap on, and then I put it face down inside my tape dispenser. And now I'm just going to close the sandwich. And again, I can tweak and move and align because the glue allows me to do that until it's completely dry. Just give it a second, okay? Now I'm going to flip it back around because my sentiment is going to pop out this direction. I'm just going to gently do that because it hasn't dried yet. That's my wish for you. So now I'm confirming that this is the front of the card. Always check. You don't want to be adding things, panels, and then suddenly have the sentiment come upside down out the bottom or facing the wrong direction. Don't ask me how I know this. I'm going to take the printed panel, the larger one, and add it to the gold because that's a little bit of a softer paper. It's going to strengthen things up a little bit. And then I can nest this onto the front. I've confirmed it's the front of my card. Next, I'll take the Best Day Ever panel and I will nest that on top of the gold, once again, to just fortify it. And then I'll nest that onto the darker green. Oh, one more thing to nest is the pull. So let me apply adhesive to that. The word pull should be kind of closest to the left edge of the strip. I'm just gonna move this so I can see and add that to the end. Okay. A little embellishing would be fun. I'll grab some of this gorgeous ribbon here and I'll trim off a piece. It can't be too long. And I'll fold it in half. And I'm just going to aim for the center of this nested piece here. I'll add a little staple. Sweet. Then I'll apply the adhesive to the back of this. And I'm going to go at an angle, making sure that the tips of these four corners don't touch the edge of the print. Huh. Best day ever. That's my wish for you. I mean, seriously, that was easy, right? I hope it all made sense. Oh my gosh, so fun. Let's take a look at the rest of these cards here. All right, so we've got the one we made together. That was the dark green one. And then we have another one in the medium green color. And then you've got you probably get lots of cards on your birthday. But what about after? So for that rare occasion, you are late in sending, it's your belated birthday card. Okay, so those are really super fun as well. Hope you love those pop-ups. I really got it down to a science. You know, they come together quickly and easily. So let's set all of these cards aside and it's time to assemble our final set, our 5x7 single fold coaster to the finish line card. And of course that begins with emptying the pocket. Lots of stuff in this pocket, including these long strips. And I'm going to tell you some tips about those in a little bit. I like to keep them long because it's really hard to trim a piece of paper that skinny at the right measurement and get it perfect. So I do find that it's best to just trim it with scissors, to be honest. Okay, I've got all these panels. Let's get those sorted. Got some printed strips here. Larger and smaller sentiments. Tiny little cut-apart scraps that were rescued. Oh my goodness. All right, this is so fun. Since these card bases are so big, I think I'm going to have you fold them. So just check for the bump and make sure the bump of the score line goes on the inside of the fold. I'll take the dark green card. These are going to be vertical. And then the aqua. And then we have two horizontal. So that'd be the medium green and the teal. Each one's going to get a double panel. Oh, that's so pretty. Let's go aqua on this one, teal here, dark green down on the horizontal, and then the medium green. And it gets another panel. We get to nest again. So we're adding missing colors at this point. We got teal, medium green, aqua, and a dark green. Then we'll take our print. I'm going to put it kind of to the left on these and then kind of to the bottom on these. We have one more missing color to incorporate. So a vertical medium green here, and then the dark green is missing. On this one, we've got the teal, that'll be horizontal, and the aqua. How about a sentiment? That'll be dictated by the direction of the sentiment, stronger than the storm, and thank you for everything here with congratulations. Inner sentiments. Thinking of you today and always for the storm cards. We've got kind people are the best kind of people and so proud of you. How about It doesn't matter. We're going to do, I don't know, this has little florals on it. This has, I don't know what's on it. We got a little peacock head on this one and some peacock feathers here. That is very open and easy. Now I think we're going to match the same color as the piece that's behind the sentiment. So medium green, dark green, teal, and aqua. We'll just distribute these little strips. How about aqua, teal, dark green, medium green. All right, we've got some giant envelopes here. These are the A7s. I'll take the 4th card and just slide that all in there. I do just put it right side up. I don't even try to jam it down in. I'd have it like this. That tells me, that card's not done quite yet. You've got some work to do on that one. And on this one, even if they're horizontal, they still assemble the same way, and they're going to be super duper 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 easy, okay? All right, let's take this guy. We can start right away with adding Stronger Than the Storm to our panel. Order of operations here is kind of a thing. You have to kind of know where your ribbon is going to go before you start going crazy with nesting stuff. All right, so I'm going to add this on the left edge of this panel. And if you're doing the horizontal card, it would be the same, but just rotated, okay? Then I'm going to take this gorgeous ombre hunter green ribbon here, stretch it. It's going to be 1 inch longer on each edge of the vertical card. Snip that off, and I'm going to grab 2 pieces of tape. And I'm going to add this to the center of the open area. All right. Flip it over and tape. Now, I have 2 full yards of this stunning teal taffeta. So I'm going to take a length, again, about that same length. It's probably 9 inches for those of you who want to know exactly how long it is. That's my guess. Once again, I'll take my tape. And you have to kind of know, I'm going to put this on the side of the green here. Just wrap that end around to the back. Stretch it across, make sure it's as level as possible. That'll go on this side of it. And then one more length. Oh, this ribboned card. And you know, the ribbon's not going to add weight or bulk. It's going to be so lovely. So then I have the narrow ribbon on each side of the wide ribbon. Oh, isn't that pretty? Okay, this nests now onto the aqua panel. It's funny, my friend Joan tells me that she watches my videos and then she thinks it's hysterical when I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. But I sincerely do love these cards, so I get to celebrate their beauty right along with you. I hope you always feel the same. And then this nests onto my card base. Okay, now for this, if you like, you can use some foam adhesive circles to boost it up a little bit. Now you might say, no, I prefer not to do that because when the post office gets a hold of my card, if they, say it's too lumpy to be machinable, then I gotta pay arm and a leg to send this. So I'll just leave that totally, of course. It's always up to you, but I love using those little foam adhesive circles. And then I'll take I like to use tweezers to get those little pieces off. All right, I kind of like to balance this so that the right edge is past the ribbon but not touching the edge of the teal piece. It's kind of like sort of upper right, but feel it out. Test it, see what you like best. I'll wait for that final embellishment until after the center of the card is done. So now I'll take the medium green panel and I like to make sure they're level. I'll go 1/4 inch from the edge with the help of my grid ruler. If you don't have the grid ruler, definitely pick that up. And then I'll take my bookbinding glue now, and I'm going to run a line against the edge of the green panel. It was nice and wide. And I'll take the strip here. I can line up the bottom edge if I want. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get it perfect. And I'm just resting it against the edge, and it's way too long. That is not a problem. You can take it to your trimmer or just snip it off. Gorgeous. Then I'll add my sentiment here. I like that. And we had this little random scrap. It would have been a complete scrap, and it still could be if you want. But I'm just going to add that right here. A little touch, a little something, something. Okay, lastly, these darling miniature tassels. Are they not the cutest things? Also would make adorable earrings, I might add. So there is definitely, like, if you can find a seam or anything in the as a front or a back, just kind of double check. I'm going to add some bookbinding glue to what I feel is the back. And then I'm going to sneak that clasp right behind the nested sentiment. Oh. I like that. I really, really do. So let's take a look at the other ones. We made the green one. Again, you can add gems to these. If you got your dazzles, you got your jewel dazzle stickers, maybe grab some of those and incorporate them. You know, use what you have, right? I have a stash. If I do, you probably do. We made 2 like that with the double ribbon, triple ribbon, I guess. And then on the other ones, I used the other type of ribbon, which was the grosgrain teal ribbon. Oh, so pretty. 2 lengths of it going across. Again, the pop dots really kind of add a little something, right? And then here's the last one. Thank you for everything. Kind people are the best kind of people. Ta-da! 12 gorgeous cards with that inspired kit. Again, that kit is celebrating 26 years of Club Scrap. It's absolutely amazing. And we've had members around that have been here for more than 20 years. So to those of you who've been so loyal, you're the reason we're still here. And I appreciate you all so much. If you know about Club Scrap and you're enjoying it, please tell your friends. We always are happy to welcome new members into the family. And remember, once you stay, you have to stay forever. I'm just kidding. We don't have a minimum monthly requirement for a membership. And members do save $8 on their kit. So it's a substantial savings, of course, to have that commitment. But you know, you can quit at any time. Our goal is to earn your loyalty and to keep you happy. And we do everything we can to ensure that. If you saw value in this workshop, make sure you take a second and hit that like button. We really appreciate it. And if you like this collection and want to make scrapbook pages, join me for the Inspired Page Kit workshop as well. I'll see you over there. If not, I will see you at our next card making class. Thanks for joining me today.